Hello, welcome to another weekly update. It's beautiful weather here in the UK. That's where I am at the moment. I'm in the east of England. A little bit delayed recording this weekend. Had the sickness bug that's been going around, so that took me out for Friday, which coincided beautifully with the public holiday. So I spent my public holiday in bed. But being rewarded with some amazing weather today. So it's lovely, isn't it? It's trying to get outside and do all the outside things that need doing. Anyway, lots happening this week. I'll say lots happening. It's kind of a bit of a slowdown on announcements for kind of big announcements coming out of Microsoft at the moment, because the first thing I want to tell you is that Build 2019 is May 6th to May 8th. So it's coming up in a couple of weeks' time. Build is the premier kind of developers conference, Microsoft big developer conference. So you can expect some announcements. I would say certainly expect developer focused announcements, and probably as well developer announcements to do with Microsoft Teams, because the development platform for Microsoft Teams is growing ever stronger day by day, becoming more and more featured, and really gaining traction. So the live stream for that will be is freely available. You can watch it, you can live stream it. A lot of the sessions I think are also going to be available this year, which is going to be really good. So you'll be able to kind of get them after the fact. I'll be doing a kind of roundup of the things you should be watching once I see, once I get sight of the kind of schedule and the schedule builder, and kind of figuring out the big announcements as well. So look forward to that. I might be live streaming the actual keynote as well, so look out for that if you're interested. I'm not quite sure yet if it's going to line up with timings. Alright, other interesting things that are still happening this week though. So Microsoft have just released version 2 of their PWA builder, which is kind of interesting because Microsoft have spent a bunch of time making sure that PWA support is baked into Windows 10, and into their Edge browser. And so they've just kind of revved on their PWA builder with a new version, v2.0. It's a big kind of milestone version change. New design, and also kind of snippets for making sort of interfacing, like doing that into kind of integration with web programs a bit easier. Completely free tool. You can download it now. It will make it easier to kind of get your PWA sort of app up and running, get it created, get it published. It's interesting to keep an eye on the kind of where PWAs are going. I know the sort of direction with Teams at the moment is not PWA based, it's Electron based. I can't help but thinking PWAs are a big part of Microsoft's future though. No kind of insight into that, could be completely wrong. It's just kind of a gut feel for mine. It's an open standard, it's cross lots of different devices, it's cross lots of different vendors, and it's still getting traction. It's Microsoft joining forces with people like Mozilla, Samsung, Google, Twitter, big players like that to kind of get behind PWA. So I can't help but thinking PWA is a big part of Office's future, Microsoft's future, and therefore Teams' future. So definitely one to keep an eye on, I think. Other things to tell you about. So if you use Jenkins at all, the kind of CI tool, really big open source CI tool, very, very popular. And if you use it, then you might be wondering if it works with Teams, and you probably ask people, does Jenkins work with Teams? And they'll tell you, yes, it does. And they probably won't go into too much detail. Happily, somebody who does get asked this a lot, apparently, so Amit Oberoi from Microsoft, apparently does get asked this a lot and is fed up with telling people each time, so he's committed pen to paper and written a really good blog post about it. So excellent use of a blog post to show you exactly how you can set up build activities for connectors, the Jenkins connector, add it into Teams, and when you do that you'll be notified about things like build starting, stopping, aborting, failing, repeated failures, whatever you want really. And you can configure the webhooks, you can configure the connectors. He goes through a whole blog post about how to do that with some screenshots as well. So a useful resource if you're using Jenkins and you're using Teams as well, and you want to kind of bring those two worlds together. And finally, only other thing to tell you about is a while ago, so last year, back end of 2018, I noticed that Microsoft were starting to create a migration tool for Office 365 to migrate people from Google G Suite. And I blogged about it at the time. That got picked up by ZDNet, Mary Jo Foley, she blogged about it as well. And then it kind of went quiet because at the time it was in development, kind of nothing happening. But now those tools have now started rolling out. So there's another ZD post that you can go and read, again by Mary Jo, talking about the migration experience. So there's a lot more detail now because the tools are now rolling out, and it's called a stage. Well, there's a couple of different ways to do this. There's a stage migration in which you need to have Office 365 directory sync, so dir sync. You need to have that set up properly, or you'll need to manually provision all users. And then there's an FAQ page as well, which kind of goes into a lot more detail, which is good. So basically there's a lot more information than there was when I first talked about it at the back end of 2018, when it was just a, hey, we're going to do this thing, just so you know. Now we've done the thing, we're rolling it out, here's all the detail about how it's going to work. So if that sounded interesting to you back end of 2018, or if it sounds interesting to you now, the ability to migrate over from Google G Suite into Office 365, then for sure go and take a look at the post. I'll link to it in the notes, and go and read it on ZDNet. Alright, I think that's everything I want to talk about. I had a really good recording this week on the Chicagoland SharePoint user group, so I think the recording of that is available. So if I can find it, I'll tweet about it. It was really fun session, really interesting, really nice bunch of kind of guys there. I was one of a number of speakers, and it was really good. I was talking about building apps for teams when you're not a developer, kind of fairly short slot, 10-minute slot, and they had a number of these kind of shorter slots to kind of keep the pace high, and it went really well, I think. And yeah, an interesting bunch of questions as well. So yeah, if I can get the recording of that, I'll post it, or I'll link to it somewhere, so look out on Twitter. And I'm going to do some more video probably coming up this week, maybe next week. So reminder to check out the YouTube channel as well, hit subscribe on that. Yeah, so also sort of unconfirmed, but I haven't kind of told anyone else this. I'm just going to share it with you guys. Unconfirmed, maybe if you liked the Ubiquity posts I did a while back, and we're thinking I should do some more, then maybe I will soon be doing some more. So we'll leave it at that and we'll see what happens. So unconfirmed at the moment, but fingers crossed on that. Alright, have a great what's left of your Easter weekend. It's a public holiday again on Monday. I'm not sure if it is in the US, sorry if it's not, guys, and the rest of the world, but it is in the UK, so hooray, and hopefully this weather holds. And have a great week next week, and I will talk to you again next time.